This is the Finesse Media Podcast.
Welcome back, y'all, to the Finesse Media Podcast, Season 6. I'm your host, Ken, Finesse Media, and as I mentioned to you each and every week, I bring you something brand new, and this week, I got someone brand new. Last week's guest was a repeat guest from Season 3. Shout out to you, Derek Monroe, but this week, we're keeping things flowing in the month of April, y'all. We got an MC all the way in HBCU. Also, I'm rocking out my HBCU to hold it down for my HBCU alumni, my great guest, Finesse, tonight. But joining me for the first time on the Finesse Media Podcast Season 6 is a good brother, a lyricist. You saw it before we started the episode and how lyrically and how talented he is. But again, you see him with the swag debonair. Welcome to the podcast for the first time, my good brother, Joshua Gunn, but you'll know him as Gunn. Welcome to the podcast, bro.
Yeah. Ken, what's good, bro? Good to see you, fam. Thanks for having me on, bro.
Most deaf. And listen, I said it to you offline. You rocking blue. Shout out to you as a member of Alpha Phi Alpha. I guess I'm wearing your colors, but you also wear my colors. How we do that?
Hey, man, we ain't planning, but God had a plan. You know what I'm saying? So, hey, shout out to the Sigmas, man. Much love to A5A and really all the Black Greeks out there and all the HBCU alum, man. It's cool to be with you, bro.
For sure. Well, Mr. Gunn, what's up, man? Welcome to the podcast. Like I say, shout out to Dr. Celicia Thompson, who tapped me on the shoulder a couple of weeks ago, and she go, listen, Ken, I got a great guest. This brother is somebody that you want to know. And I said, well, listen, Celicia, I know if it's coming from you, you bring nothing but the brand. Send me his information. And let me tell you, bro, I got a list of questions that came from people who were folks that looked at your page, that looked at your bio, because typically what I like to do is when I have a new guest on, particularly a music artist, I like to let people listen to the music and have them to look at your page and get a whole vibe sense from you and then create some questions. So I got about a couple questions, or maybe not a couple, but maybe 3 or 4 questions from those group of focused people about your brand. But real quick, man, let people know who are new to seeing your face and also will be following your brand. Let my audience know, man, who is J. Gunn? Who is Mr. Gunn?
Yeah, man, big up to you, bro. And hey, yo, shout out to Celicia. Since you did, let me echo that shout out first, man. Dr. Celicia, amazing human being, a literal genius, a mogul, a force in the creative industry, music industry, film industry, TV industry. Big up to Celicia, man. I'm Joshua Gunn, man. I'm an MC from Durham, North Carolina. I'm a battle rapper who started off as a young kid just fighting for respect in this music thing and transitioned out of battle rap into creating music, expressing myself. I've taken this thing all over the world, done TV, done film, and really, bro, just somebody who leads with gratitude, man. I'm grateful to be able to have the talent, God-given talent to make music that's meaningful, impactful. And I think I'm cut from that spirit of that golden era of hip hop, right? So if you tune into this for the first time, you never seen me before, I'm all about lyrics, substance, content, giving people that feeling. And just released a new album called Game 7. So I'm excited to talk about that today.
Yeah, we're going to get into Game 7. They definitely didn't leave that off. I'll tell you that for sure. My people certainly was loving Game 7. Also loving that freestyle energy that you bring to Gunn, because the clip that we showed before we started this episode was you in this room with rocking the HBCU also hoodie, just giving that energy, man. I mean, listen, so your talent, when did it, like, who inspired you? I mean, I'm not even getting to these questions yet because I want to know from my own, self, like, who inspired you? Is there music talent in your family? I know you are alumni from North Carolina A&T, which produces great people, but what inspired or who inspired you?
Ken, I've been doing music since I was 7 years old, man. Wow. So I think a couple key pieces. My city inspired me. So if you're not familiar with Durham, Durham has a rich Black history, right? And it's a rich music and entertainment history, but mostly it's got a rich Black entrepreneurial spirit. So in the 1910s, 20s, and 30s, Durham was one of the Black Wall Streets in the United States of America. W.E.B. Du Bois, Booker T. Washington visited Durham and said, if the rest of the country could be like Durham, we wouldn't have a race problem, right? Because Black people were so prominent in that community. And just like other Black prominent cities, the United States government made sure they erased most of that prominence systematically. But the history and the culture of that grit and entrepreneurial spirit and Black excellence lives in my city, right? So my city inspires me first and foremost. In terms of rap, I had an older brother who spit, and I wanted to just hang with my older brother. He's 6 years older than me. And so when I was little, right, he's 13, I'm 7. I just want to be around you. So I'm going to come spit my little bars, and hopefully you'll let me hang out with you and your friends. and just had a natural talent for it. You know what I'm saying? And so since my brother there's that age gap, I grew up on hip hop that was a little older than what my peers were listening to, right? So my brother put me on the Outkast in 1994 when I was in elementary school,
Yeah,
right?
buddy.
My brother put me on the Nas, and my brother put me on the Wu-Tang. So those artists inspired me. And then I got really lucky because Big Daddy Kane moved to my hometown, right? And so when I was 10 years old, I got to work with Big Daddy Kane. So now I got that 90s hip hop and that sort of 80s golden era hip hop all really inspiring what I do. So when you listen to my tunes now, you hear a lot of that, right? You hear the influence from the 90s New York hip hop. You hear Outkast, the Southern sort of 90s, black conscious, black futurist space. And then you hear a little bit of that gold chain flossing, Big Daddy Kane, hot top fade, fresh dress, suave. You know what I'm saying? So those are some of the people that inspire me.
Yeah, man. And good people. Listen,
Yeah,
the era of the 80s babies is what it sounds like. What's the
indeed,
year?
indeed.
1980.
What year was I born?
Yeah.
85.
I know you had to give it to me. If you would have said 89, dude, I would have been like, you're lying. But
Mm,
85, and shout out to 85, because that's definitely the year I was born as well. But I'm just saying that 80s culture, I think, for musicians across the board, whether you're R&B or you're rap or even jazz, even, and we're seeing, some people are getting more into country in that whole space. But I'll tell you, in that if you were born in the 80s, your trajectory of hip hop and your inspiration comes from many other people that you name.
yeah,
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 Gun.
man.
I don't
Yeah.
disagree. I don't
I posted something a couple of days ago. I said I'm glad to be raised by the OGs and not IG. Right? You
yeah.
know what I'm saying? I'm fortunate. I'm fortunate to come up when I came up and have people around me to influence me to make some real shit. You know what I mean? Hip hop that means
Yeah.
something. Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm gonna jump right into this question because it's a good segue into not your latest album, but your album Perfection Experiment 2. It
Yeah.
featured production from Grammy Award winning producers. Can you tell us about the creative process behind that album and what was it like working with such esteemed producers? Because you
Yeah,
got a
man.
list of people you work with.
Yeah. So again, man, just kind of being fortunate to be in the city at the time I was in the city where I grew up. So Durham's not a big city; it's a small city with a rich history, right? And Ninth Wonder, who Grammy Award winning producer Ninth
Shout out to
Wonder,
Knife Wonder,
went
dude.
went on to produce, everybody: Jay-Z, Destiny's Child, Beyonce, Mary J. The list goes on, right? But really, kind of an icon in terms of that boom bap soulful hip hop. Um, was at North Carolina Central University, another HBCU. Shout out to NC Central, which is in my hometown. So Central is in Durham. And I was in high school. I had a group in high school called The Third Day. Me and my man K Slack, my man Killer K, and we were just like, I had built my reputation from battle rap, right? And so I battled Fonte, who was in Knife's group, Little Brother, and legendary battle in the city. I'm like 14 or 13, right, battling these grown men. And Knife was one of the judges in that battle. This
Oh
this was
wow.
way before he was who he is today. You know what I mean? He was a college student at this time, and I killed it. We started going to his apartment and making records. And then there's another producer on that project named Nicolay, who's actually from the Netherlands, also a Grammy Award winning producer, who they were just corresponding over the internet with, right? Sent my tunes over to him and like, shit, I want to do something for Gunn and them, right? And so got some with him, got some with Crisis, and we created an album. I was 15 years old when we created Perfection Experiment 2, and millions of illegal downloads later, you know what I mean? We really created something that we're proud of, and it's a really classic project to us. Out of that, fun fact, I ended up doing a solo record called One Finger. That video was directed by the Duffer Brothers, who made the show Stranger Things on Netflix. They also are from my hometown, right? So just early 2000s, Durham and Raleigh hip hop in North Carolina was unmatched, and we just right place, right time, and with the right talent. You know what I mean? So yeah, Perfection Experiment 2. It never was officially released though, Ken. That's the thing, right? So
Wow.
this is before streaming. So we put it out on the internet back in the day when you used to have to put shit on message boards and okplayer.com and
yeah.
Napster, Rapid Share, LimeWire, right? Though that era. And millions of downloads later, that project still lives on. We actually pressed up CDs. Fun fact for this story, we pressed up CDs. This was back in the CD era for the young cats checking in. And we pressed up 1,000 CDs and we sold them the first day. So we were like, oh shit, we on to something, right? And that's back when you could charge $20 for a CD, right? So we were really hustling this thing, and I'm really proud of that project, man.
Yeah, grassroots. And there's something about that grassroots hustle and the bustle of it all, where a lot of people will go, well, first off, let me just go back to the statement you made when you said we were raised by OGs and not IGs. Is that what you said?
Yeah,
that needs to be on the shirt. First and foremost, take this off, shit. Just take this off and send me that invoice. No, seriously, like, because
we
now
can partner on it. Let's partner on the shirt. We'll split
hey, we'll talk offline.
Indeed, for real.
But Gunn, for real, in this industry, or in this, not industry, but in this time, in this space we're living in, people want the fast track success, man. And when you're having that grassroots, as I mentioned to you offline, working with Selena and Celicia and Chicago before we transition over, they transition over to where they are now in different cities, man, the grassroots tells a story. There's a lot of lessons in there. And even when you talk about like the line wire and the CDs and stuff like that, that process, you really had to really appreciate those moments, man. So no, I appreciate you bringing it up, because that hustle and bustle is where that journey and where those lessons come in at, for sure.
Yeah, and you also really connect with people, right? So I mentioned I made Perfection Experiment when I was 15, right? I'm a lot older than 15 right now. You know what I'm saying? And I dropped a new album this year. The first people to buy that new album were the people that bought that album when I was 15, right? Because right now, bro, if I were to go to hit my Apple Music app or my Spotify app, it costs me nothing to play a song, right? I have no connection to that song. There's no sacrifice for me to go get that song. But when someone hands you that $20 bill for your CD, they don't forget that they handed you that $20 bill. And then when you give them something that's quality, man, that's a lifelong supporter, bro. So the connection, that grassroots, as you described it, that hustle connection, that sustained me for 20 years, bro. Like I've been able to perform. I didn't release an album. This is my first album in 6 years, but I never stopped performing, never stopped getting booked for stuff, never stopped doing features, really based on that foundation that we laid. And you know, from being around Selena, man, she's so inspirational for me because, you know, people might know her from All Falls Down, or they might know her from some of the work she's done with like Kanye or the R. Kelly era when, you know, they were working together. But she has hundreds of songs and she still tours with all those independent songs. And her fans love her music more than they love any of those features. You know what I'm saying? So like that independent spirit, that hustle spirit, it can't be matched, bro. Can't be matched.
Lena got chapters, as people will say. That got a catalog. Lena has chapters,
man, and it's so much bigger than the stuff that maybe was on the radio, right? She has a real connection with her audience, which is inspiring for her.
Yeah, and that's what that is. And so, as you mentioned, when someone who had passed you that $20 bill, and now in 2024 is saying, "Yo, I'm one of the first people," or maybe just supporting you still, you know, years later. No, that means truth, and that brings support, because what that means is that when you get titled, I don't know what the subscription is. I think it's maybe $20 a month, let's just say, but you get everybody album. I mean, that's a cool thing. I'm not knocking that when I say it. That's just the way the world we live in. But when $20 an album was just one CD, and you had to flip through the credits and see who were on it, producing it, and arranging on the A&R on the side. So, and who even wrote it?
It was a ritual.
It was a ritual.
Like, I used to, let me tell you, man, when I was in middle school, I would not eat for a week if I knew an album was coming because my mom would give me $3 a day for lunch money, right? And I would not eat because I just starve myself. Then I eat at the crib, whatever I get when I get home, and stack my little $3 per day. And then on that Friday, I'd go cop an album. And I couldn't wait to unwrap the plastic, read the liner notes, listen to the music. It was a ritual, bro. I really want to bring that feeling back because it was special. Yeah.
And I like the fact that some people still have access to CDs. It's a weird thing, but I think the nostalgic of it all. Erykah Badu, shout out to her. She's from Dallas. I'm in Dallas. Erykah Badu always say you can't roll a blunt up on an MP3. You gotta get a CD. So I ain't mad at Badu when she said you can't roll up a blunt on the MP3, or at that time it was MP3, but as a download, as we know it as, or stream. The vernacular changes as it all. But I want to jump back into these questions because, as I mentioned to you, you did perform as a previous question. With many Grammy nominated and Grammy award winning artists, but you perform with also you perform in international countries and collaborate with icons like Kanye West, Snoop Dogg. So can you share with our audience a standout moment or an experience from your time on tour or collaborating with these artists? Snoop Dogg and Kanye West, we just talked about him with All Falls Down featuring Selena Johnson, but what was that experience like working with Kanye West, Snoop Dogg?
Yeah, so I'm gonna tell two stories, right? So I'm gonna tell the
All
Snoop Dogg
right.
story
Let me take a sip then. I can't
first.
do other things. Snoop Dogg, shout
Yeah,
out to you.
the Snoop story is probably less entertaining than the Kanye story. So I'm gonna tell the Snoop story first, only because Snoop, I met, as you read my bio, I've been around a lot of like celebrity superstar people that your audience will recognize. But Snoop is one of the coolest people on the planet. So I did a TV show called Music Moguls, which we filmed between 2015 and 2016. At that time, I was working with Dame Dash, founder of Rockefeller, who discovered Jay-Z, discovered Kanye, right? So Dame and I were working on a bunch of things, and he gets booked for this BET series called Music Mogul. So the series was Dame Dash, Snoop Dogg, Jermaine Dupri, Birdman. Who am I missing? Snoop, Birdman, Dame, and JD. Yeah, those four, right? Each of them had an artist that they were working with, and this was sort of the platform to catapult their artists, right? So Birdman was showcasing Jacquees at the time, and he had another artist, white kid whose name I can't remember at the moment. And then Dame had me, and everybody had the artist that they want to talk about. Jermaine had the white kid whose name is still escaping me, but Bow Wow was on the show as well, right? It's sort of that whole music moguls from the 2000s, really. Where are they now type of vibe, right? And so most of the people on the show really didn't give a fuck about this kid from Durham, North Carolina. Like, Dame and I did our thing, and most of the kids didn't give a fuck about me. In fact, most of the other moguls didn't give a fuck about me except for Birdman and Snoop, right? And so in fact, Bow Wow dissed me on the show. There's we can tell that story if you want to talk about it.
I gotta watch this.
I'll send you the clips, man. Maybe you can even include them here. But Bow Wow dissed me on the show. I made one of my biggest records, which was a response to him. It's called Crackin'. It's about my city. So Dame was in my hometown at the time. And Bow Wow was like, what the fuck is Dame doing in North Carolina? Ain't shit cracking in Durham. That's the quote on the show, right? Because as a person from a smaller city, I mean, you're from the Chi, huge city, right? And it's Atlanta, it's New York. Nobody really cares about us small city folks. But credit to Dame, he gave me a shot, right? Because it was all about the talent for him, not necessarily where I was from. But anyway, we doing a little a screening for the thing, and Snoop comes up to me, and he was like, J.GUNN, in his classic Snoop voice, you fucking with Dame, man. I've been listening to your music. You're super talented, man. And Snoop says to me, anything you need, anytime you need something, let me know, nephew, right? And so I'm thinking, like, it's hella people in here. This is just what somebody says, right? Fast forward to our premiere party in LA. I'm with like a bunch of people that I know now. So now I'm feeling like, damn, if I holler at Snoop and he don't remember me, I'm gonna be super embarrassed, right? Mm-hmm. But instead of me having to go approach Snoop is mad tall, right? So he spots me across the room. J.GUNN, come over here, nephew. Show me love, offer me some weed. You know what I mean? Like just super a real genuine, did a drop for me, which I always post all the time. Snoop shout me out. But just like one of those people, and this, you've been in the game a long time, bro. People that are genuinely real and just authentic are rare, especially at Snoop's level. Snoop's probably the most famous rapper in the planet.
Yeah, right? And I'm gonna tell you real quick, and I haven't met Snoop. He's on my bucket list to meet.
Yeah, super cool, bro.
But I think, and I'll say this about Snoop, but about all people that are successful, dead and alive, it's about their personality. It's about who you are. People forget what you have said to them, but they'll never forget how they made you feel or how you made them feel. Have I said that? But that's what it is. I feel like Snoop, I don't want to take away from your story, but Snoop, I feel, is just super genuine. Like he gets with Martha Stewart or he can get with Iyanla Vanzant. I mean, he can get with the best. In fact, you go and listen to things and you know it's his voice. So his voice has become iconic and kind of legendary in itself. But you'll just be seeing stuff and go, "The hell Snoop doing over here?" Cartoons, movies, and the whole bit. But no, go ahead. I think
Because you're
Snoop is
right.
dope.
And you know what? He shows up as himself, right? And that's something like what I also try to do, bro, is everybody that I meet, I try to learn something from them, right? And I learned from Snoop, like Snoop is a Crip from Long Beach, right? But he got a Martha Stewart show. But when he does the Martha Stewart show, he's still a Crip from Long Beach, right? And America accepts it, people embrace it. It's because he's genuine, authentic to himself. So I got nothing but love for Snoop. That was one of the best for a kid like me from a small city. For him to spot me out of a crowd and remember that brief interaction we had and embrace me and show me love, be willing to go on my IG and say some things about me was super dope, man. Just a real genuine guy, man. So BET Music Moguls is still in syndication, bro. So if you're watching this, go hit your on demand on BET. You can watch the series. I was on multiple episodes. I really kind of the star of Dame's portion of the show. Crazy experience for me. Which leads me to your Kanye question.
Yeah. What Ye do? We got to hit this Ye story.
Ye was interesting, man, because all right, so I'm with Dame all these years, right? So at this point, I have been rocking with Dame for about 3 years. And so anybody that knows Dame knows that Dame is his own. He gonna do what he want to do and only what he wants to do, right? And so I'm kicking it with Dame at his crib. He had a crib in Malibu at the time, and we just kind of sitting out back. He's smoking, he telling stories, right? And then Rocky, who is Dame's wife, she comes over. She's like, "Hey, he wants you to come hear his album." And Dame was like, "No, I don't feel like fucking with that right now." And so my ears kind of perking up, right? Because again, I'm from a small city, man. Dame is a big ass star to me. But whoever telling him he want to hear the album, I'm like, who is that, bro? Right? You know what I mean? And so I'm like, Dame, who keep hitting you on the once you hear the album? He's like, man, that's Kanye. He's like, Kanye want me to come to the studio hear the album, but I don't really feel like fucking with all that shit right now. And so I'm like, dang, you realize like for me, this could be pivotal, right? This is the Life of Pablo album, just for like time period context, right? I'm like, shit, bro, I need that look, Dame. You know what I'm saying? Like, I need that look. And so it took us like 3 hours to convince Dame to go take me to meet Kanye the first time. Because in this particular era, Dame wasn't really interested in being in the outside like that, right? He didn't want the cameras, he didn't want the paparazzi, and Kanye brings all of that, right? Wherever Kanye is, it's 30 40 people. So we begged Dame. So Dame was like, man, why don't we go kick it with Cypress Hill tonight? Be Real from Cypress Hill, right? And I'm like, nah. I mean, that's cool. I got love for Cypress Hill. And he was like, well, shit, man. He keeps like throwing alternatives out at me. He was like, I can hit Raekwon up. We can go kick it with Raekwon if you want to get some, photos for your Instagram and shit. I'm like, I love Raekwon, one of my favorite rappers of all time. But you gonna take me to see Kanye tonight, right? And so finally, he was like, you can go. As he says to me, you can go, but your whole crew can't come. Because at that time, like I have a team that rides with me, and at that particular time, we were doing a lot with the BET show. So we had like my videographer, my manager, my road. We had like a whole unit. And so I had to go talk to them like, hey, y'all, I'm about to go see Kanye. Y'all can't go, right?
You can't get in. You can't come.
Get in. But he let my manager come in with me, and it was just us two. So we go in, and I've told this story many times, but we walk in, I have to sign a big-ass NDA, bro. Like, and this was when him and Kim Kardashian were still married. So most of the NDA was related to like, don't ask me shit about my wife. Don't mention my wife. Don't, you know what I mean? Like it was all about that. But once we walked into the studio, first of all, I was super starstruck because for me, you talked about who inspired me. Like college Gunn, Kanye was the most inspirational rapper because Kanye was the first rapper that I remember that wasn't a street guy, right? Wasn't a dope dealer or a hustler or a gangster, but still was respected with, you know what I mean? Like at the mainstream level. And so I really related to Kanye, was inspired by Kanye. So I was starstruck for like the first 5 minutes until Dame was like, bro, cut that shit out. Right?
Like we had to work, dude.
Yeah, Dame was like, cut that shit out, man. And so in the studio was like Metro Boomin was there, Farnsworth Bentley was there, and there was like 5 French fashion designers that didn't speak.
P. Diddy wasn't there, was he?
Who that? You said who was there? You didn't say Diddy.
I said P. Diddy wasn't there.
Diddy was not there. No, I don't have any Diddy stories. So
you said Farnsworth Bentley was there. I thought maybe
no, but if you remember in that period of time, Bentley was signed to Kanye, right? So Bentley was there. I don't have no Diddy stories. So if anybody tuned in for a Diddy story, I got none. I don't know Diddy at all. But anyway, man, long story short, bro, Kanye played me his album, and I was able to play some music for him. And Dame was like, yo, this is J.GUNN. He kind of reminds me of you, is what he says to Kanye. And Kanye is like, nah, that nigga don't remind you of me. Like, he was like real, you know what I mean? Like, he's like, nah, fuck that shit. Ain't nobody me. And so we had a nice little exchange. And Dame was like, nah, Gunn is a battle rapper. Like, he'll fuck you up. And so he's kind of hyping Ye up. And I'm thinking we about to battle, right? I'm thinking I'm about to battle Kanye West. Because when Kanye is around people that he respects, which he has a lot of love for Dame, their relationship is beautiful. He went back to like old Kanye. Like, he was really challenging me. You know what I'm saying? And he was like, I ain't never seen this little hot yellow dude in my life. But if Dame say he nice, I got to prove something to him. And so I was ready, heart racing, heart pounding. Didn't get to battle him because they were going to Paris that night. But I was able to leave him with some music. And then I was able to, he hit me back. Right. So again, me, little kid from Durham, Kanye was like, yo, this shit is super dope. And he also gave me some critiques, which in classic Kanye style was like, you need to stop doing this. You need to stop fucking around with this shit. You need to look towards the future with that, which at the time I had gave Kanye a CD. And this is all the way in 2016. So CDs was played out. Right. But that's the only mechanism I had to give him my music. And so Kanye actually is the reason I started to do things like press up jump drives at my shows instead of giving people CDs, giving you a custom jump drive or a custom link or a QR code to get the music, right? So super inspirational for me. Got to kick it with Kanye a couple more times since then. Got to like offer some feedback to him and really build what I thought was a really cool relationship for a brief period of time. So Ye is dope, man. And like what I also learned in that Kanye experience, when someone is super famous, what you might see on Instagram or in the media, totally different from who they are when the cameras are off.
Mm-hmm.
Ye
it's just a snapshot, it's
just a snapshot, bro.
It's
and
just
like,
a snapshot.
I don't want to pretend like me and Kanye are best friends. And like I'm still chopping it up with him now, but the moments I spent with him, real genuine dude, human being going through the same shit that we all go through. And the media just gives you kind of a distorted viewpoint of people. Same with Dame. People got a lot of shit to say about Dame, but I ain't have nothing but great times with Dame. You know what I mean? So
I respect Dame's hustle. I believe he is one of the people I would say that's finessing the game. And what you said a little bit about how he it wasn't necessarily trying to be around with all the paparazzi and the people. It's kind of what I love about him is that he's like, I'm humble about the business. That shit gonna come. Yes, but it doesn't have to be there. Like the people and the hoopla of it all. I don't get that from Dame. So no, I love and respect his entrepreneurial spirit. But speaking of entrepreneurial spirit, because that was kind of a good segue, I think, J.GUNN, to my next question. You transitioned into television and film with your projects, like again we mentioned Music Mobile, and it showcased your versatility as a artist. But I have a question. How do you balance your roles as a musician, entrepreneur, a media personality, and what excites you most about exploring the different facets of the entertainment industry?
Yeah. I feel like, man, that's a heavy question. The balance piece is the hardest part, right? So like, I think every particularly independent artist can relate to what I'm about to say. The hardest part, and you probably can too, bro, the hardest part of the balance is balancing the shit you want to do with the shit you have to do, right? And what I mean by that is sometimes the shit you want to do isn't paying you as much as the shit you have to do, right? Go. And so, when I did some acting, like I did a film called A Polished Soul a couple years ago, that paid me to do the film, right? And I don't know if I'm a great actor, Ken. I'm gonna keep it a band with you, bro. I'm probably like a C-level actor, right? I didn't know I was a C-level actor until I did my first movie and had to watch myself on a screen for 2 hours, right? And I'm getting better. I'm taking some classes. I'm learning how to do that. But you sometimes do things because you're creative. I'm a creative. We want an outlet, and sometimes those outlets pay more than the primary outlet, right? And so the balance is challenging. Balance between what you want to do, what you have to do. But the beauty of it all for me, bro, is if I get up and use my voice, which God gave me this voice, the ability to talk, write, create, act, you know what I mean, produce, that's a blessing, right? And so I really balance it all by finding the beauty of like, man, that you just got paid to stand up in front of people and say something, whether it's rapping or acting or producing, you're using the talents that God gave you. So I balance it by finding the beauty and the blessing, man. You know what I'm saying? But I'm happy to be rapping again, right? I'm happy to be creating hip hop, performing, and releasing albums again, because that's really what I love to do.
Yeah, brother. Yeah, brother. Give me 1 second. So no, what's really cool about it is that when you're talking about different artists and things that what you've done, but dude, we got this new album out. So talk to the people about this album. You say 6 years it's been since you put out an album. So talk to the people about this album.
Yeah, man. Game 7 is the new album. Game 7. Game 7, and it's all about embodying the energy of a Game 7, right? So if you think about the sports analogy, you think about the NBA playoffs, which is about to kick off, right? So Game 1, you might be getting your buckets off. You can take a couple risks. You might take a game off here and there. But when a series is tied 3-3 and it's Game 7 and it's either win or go home, you have no choice but to put your best foot forward, bet on yourself, and sacrifice it all to win, right? And so that's the spirit of this project. I took some time. I never took time off from creating music, but creating a full-length album, I took some time off. I had 2 kids in this period of time. I'm thinking about like what's next, you know what I mean? What's grown man Gunn about to do, right? And really became somewhat disheartened with the music industry. And so like you and I talked already about like the purchasing the CDs or purchasing the vinyl, that sort of intimate experience. The streaming shit is just mad weird to me, right? And so I had a couple conversations with folks about a year ago that was like, bro, Gunn, you too dope to not fucking put out an album, right?
I agree.
Thank you, bro. Respect. But if you put out an album, you got to put out the best fucking album, and you got to really go in and do this project, right? And so Game 7 was inspired by those people, very small, because a lot of people gave up on me in this period of time, right? Keeping it a band. But a very small group of people that was like, bro, we still believe in you. Go, what's stopping you, right? And so Nas released 6 albums in 2 years. Nas is about 12 years older than me, right? Killer Mike released an amazing album. He's older than me.
Which swept the Grammys, by the way. He killed the Grammys.
And so like this whole ageism thing that was in my mind too, like, man, you over 30, you over 35 now. You still gonna make music, right? You still gonna be a rapper. They helped me get over that, right? Watching Killer Mike and Nas do what they do. And so I finally stepped in and it just clicked, man. It just became like it all felt natural. And so Game 7 is out right now. You can get it direct to consumer, which I'm happy to talk about why we went that approach. But Game 7 round 2 is right behind it, right? So I got a ton of music now, right? And so really just getting back outside has been beautiful. Worked with 2 producers exclusively on the project, 2 of the best producers out of North Carolina, right? So if you were to go to NC right now, Ken, and you ask who's finessing the game in North Carolina, who's a dope-ass producer, the 2 guys who did my project are the 2 best producers, right? Okay. It's JD, this cat named You Must Be JD, and this cat named Gav Beats. Gav Beats just produced on Beyonce's new single, 16 Carriages, right? Oh, so he's on Beyonce's new album, right? Like this is the caliber of people that produce this project. And You Must Be JD has worked with everybody, right? And so when the 2 of them believed in me to do this project together, I'm like, shit, bro, I got to put my best foot forward. So we've created something I'm really proud of, man. I'm excited for people to hear it.
That's what's up. That's what's up. And you really stole the thunder there, J.GUNN, because I was typically will ask every episode to my guest Vanessa, who's that person for you that you think that's finessing the game? And you
Yeah,
said
that's
that
who
your
it is,
producer.
bro. That's who
You
it is.
tell me those people, those folks' names again.
You Must Be JD. That's one guy, right? So his name is JD. There's already a Jermaine Dupri, right? And so his story comes from him playing beats for like Scott Storch and Timbaland,
Oh.
and them being like, "Damn, bro, you must be JD." He's like, "That's who the fuck I am," right? So You Must Be JD and Gav Beats.
And Gab Beats.
Yeah, Gav just did the Beyonce 16 Carriages single. So man, these two dudes, bro, like, and you know this from being from the Shy. There's the guys in your city who are musical genius level talent that aren't household names, but really finessing the game, as you say.
Mm-hmm.
Them two, bro.
Yeah.
Them two.
Yeah. Well, let me do this because let me tell you, each and every week also, not only do I ask my guest Vanessa who's finessing the game for them, but I'm also creeping through your social media pages and I'm looking at
Yeah.
your Facebook or looking at your Instagram or your Twitter or your Snapchat, and I'm finding things or I'm looking at a post or a video that you posted and I'm bringing it to my audience on this episode during this conversation because I would like for you to elaborate on it. So I found some on your social media page, Mr. J. Gunn, and it's something you ain't even really talked about this really whole conversation. So I'm interested to see or to hear, I should say, more about the photo that I found on your Facebook or your Instagram page. I actually found it from your Instagram page.
Oh
shit. Oh shit.
What we got, G? What we got?
Let's see what's going on, man.
I don't know what the fuck I posted on there, so I'm excited about this. Or nervous.
J. Gunn, you tell me what was going on in this photo.
Okay. Hey, that's my baby girl. That's my baby girl in our backyard in a snowstorm. And you're gonna give me the opportunity to shout out another Aggie. So Shaylena Fultz is her name. She has a clothing line called HBCU Legacy, right? So big up to her. She's in all the Macy's across the country, right? Aggie alum. But early on, when she was just getting started, so my daughter is beautiful. I'm blessed to have a beautiful daughter named Harlem. Harlem is, at the time I was posting hella pictures of my daughter. I post less now because internet people are weird. But she was like, will your daughter be a brand ambassador for me? So she made a Aggie Pride denim jacket with the glitter sleeves. And that's what's going on right there, man. That's me and my baby girl in our backyard. And we had just recently moved to Illinois at the time. And so
we can tell.
We
know this ain't North Carolina.
You used to snow.
Snow this is definitely Illinois snow.
Yeah. Snow was a treat for us. So we was like, shit, we outside. You see, we ain't got no heavy coats on. We just outside living it up, man. So that's what that is, man. Big up to HBCU Legacy Fashion. Shaylena is killing it. And then my baby girl, man. That's my baby girl.
Fatherhood is dope. I looked at this photo. There were many. Let me just say there were many things I wanted to choose, but this one I didn't have any relationship to. I was literally like, wait a minute, Aggie born, and I told you offline, I'm already familiar with the Aggie Pride. I think it's the dopest pride. I'll say it online. Indeed. I think it's the dopest pride year over year for any HBCU, hands down. So when I saw this, I go,
I'm not gonna argue with that. We the illest. I ain't gonna argue with
that. Listen, so Gunn, I'm looking at the photo and I go, okay, so maybe he went to North Carolina A&T. Maybe this is his daughter. I had no idea. So I legitimately just chose this photo because I wanted to know more information. But when you offline, you did mention your daughter and the whole bit and the Aggie. I go, oh, so that's what that photo was.
Look, you relate to this since you went to Pine Bluff. Check it out. So my wife and I met at A&T, right? So my wife and I, she's pregnant with the baby. Our entire time, we never missed a homecoming, right? I've never, up until my daughter was born, I had never missed GHO, which for those that are unfamiliar, that's A&T's homecoming, greatest homecoming on earth. We call it GHO, right? And my daughter was born on GHO. So not only do we have an Aggie baby, right? She was born on homecoming. So all of my folks, this is how let me tell you how you really can find out who your people are, right? The people that skipped homecoming to come see us in the hospital that day is my people, right? You
That's
know what I'm saying?
dope. That is
Because a
super
lot of people
dope.
were like, Gunn, I love you, bro, but I'm gonna holler at you when you get home. But there was a few
Yeah.
people that pulled up on us at the hospital. So my daughter is a true Aggie
She is
born.
a true Aggie born, as it
Yeah.
shows on the back of her jacket. Aggie born, and then shout out to the brand that created this wonderful jacket
Yes.
too, because it is.
HBCU legacy. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
HBCU legacy is certainly one to get familiar from. I would say just from this apparel right here, and then it looks good on that Chicago or that Illinois snow dude, and that I didn't
Indeed.
really pay attention to. I didn't realize it was snow in the background. To be completely honest, I just saw
Yeah.
the Aggie born, Aggie bred, and got extremely excited and was like, "Wait,
Yeah.
what's going on? Who is this girl? Where does Jackie come from?" Because it was kind of thrown in there. You're right. She's not all over your social media, particularly your IG pages where I got this from. So I was
Yeah.
like, wait, who is this? Did you create the jacket? Is this your daughter? Did you go to
Yeah.
A&T? So I now know it all. We now know it all. We share that HBCU pride, that divine love pride. I also march in the band. So I actually, by trade, I play the saxophone. So while I'm not a
Dope.
musician or a rapper or lyricist, we do share that same love for music, Gun.
Yeah.
And we really do share this space, man. And I appreciate you for coming on this episode. There's really not enough time with any guest. Let me just be transparent because you're finessing the game. No way in heck in 15 minutes you can tell me everything you're doing and then some. So you got to
Yeah.
come back.
Hey man, I would love to come back, bro. I love to come back. And like I told you, when you pull up to Illinois, we gonna link. And hey man, let's do it. Let's do it again, bro. I would love to do it again.
Yeah, you got to come back, man. Real quick before I let you go, I haven't asked this question all season long, and some have actually been HBCU alumni, but I'll ask it now. What was it like for you attending an HBCU? One, and in part, why did you choose to go to this particular HBCU? Because you had many different choices.
Well, the first part of your question is what was it like? Is the best time of my life, right? And so as a black man growing up in the United States of America, constantly dealing with like questions about your identity, right? And whether or not you know, like the black experience in the media in particular is very
Mhm.
short-sighted, right? Like I remember growing up and feeling like you were either Bill Cosby or you were a criminal, right? Like it was really no in between represented in the media, right? And so, and in the town where I lived, it was also either like you were a lawyer or a doctor or doing other things, like doing something that we won't mention, right? And so,
Mhm.
what I love about an HBCU is you just get to show up as your most authentic self, right?
Agreed.
Everybody is already black, right? So we know that, right? But we also can be okay, that's J.GUNN the rapper. That's such and such the engineer. That's such and such the nerd who likes anime, who wants to, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like black people let their guard down at HBCU and we just get to be ourselves.
Yeah.
It's such a beautiful experience because some people might say an HBCU is not diverse because it's an all black school. But what you see at an HBCU is the full spectrum of diversity within the black
There
experience.
you go. Because we're not a monolith. So
We're
yes,
not a
absolutely.
monolith, right? And we also aren't that binary of like either you're a superhero
This.
black person or you are a
Mhm.
terrible black person, right?
Mhm.
We got layers to us, right? And you don't have to be Oprah or Bill Cosby to be valuable, right? You don't
Mhm.
have to be Jay-Z or Drake to be valuable, right? You can be whatever you want to be and still be proud of who you are. And so
Absolutely.
the confidence, that's how I knew you was an HBCU grad when I met you. The confidence you breathe off of you, right? Because you are a whole person as a black person, right? It's something the HBCU experience gives you. So best experience in my life. I could talk for hours. We should probably do a whole nother podcast about me.
Right. It really is. It really is. It really is.
But the
Yeah.
answer to why I went to A&T is a short answer. So my best childhood friend was going to A&T. He originally had got a basketball scholarship to a small school in North Carolina, and then he decided he didn't want to go to that school. So he was like, "Come with me to orientation to A&T." And so I don't know if y'all had orientation at Pine Bluff, but orientation at a HBCU, if you weren't sure you wanted to go, you go to orientation, you gonna fucking go. Right?
It's a pep rally party sort of thing.
It was the most beautiful thing, man. I have never, even now, felt more at home than I felt my first day at A&T. So one night at orientation, I applied, went to A&T, and I met my wife there. I got my kids from that experience. I created my music career there. My music and entertainment company started at A&T. So long story short, best decision of my life. Anybody watching this, if you have a child and they are a Black child, send them to an HBCU. Unequivocally, send them to an HBCU. I don't care which one you go to. I don't care if they get accepted to whatever PWI you thought was good, or whatever basketball team or football team PWI you thought was good. Send them to an HBCU. It will be more than worth the price of admission. That's my PSA today.
Absolutely. And make sure when they get there, they pledge Phi Beta Sigma or Zeta Phi Beta.
Oh, wait. I do not endorse that.
You know, I had to throw it in there. I mean, that was a great PSA, J.GUNN'S, but listen, you got to throw it in there. Listen, it's only I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Listen, y'all know it. It's all love.
Big ups to the Divine Nine. Big ups to the Divine Nine.
For sure.
I also think you should pledge something. Even if you don't pledge, get involved in your school, get involved in your community. It's nothing like it, man. We sitting right here in the place we in probably because we picked the HBCU. Because I know if I had stayed in my hometown or not went this route, God knows where I would have ended up. So hey, HBCU is all the way. And I don't know about the Phi Beta Sigma thing, but we'll just end with HBCU, and you can cut the rest out.
Listen, J.GUNN'S,
seriously, big love to the Divine Nine, man. We have a friendly banter, but all of our organizations have excellence and have created Black people that have changed the world, right? And Huey Newton is a Sigma, right? Isn't Huey Newton?
Huey Newton is a Sigma.
One of my favorite historical people, man. So big up to Huey Newton.
Yeah, and it is great people in all organizations. And the cool thing about this is, I mean, you and I, we've been in over a decade, so we can have fun with this. Was definitely, I would say, secured in our choosing of our organization, right? So there's definitely no buyer's remorse, if you will. But no, I enjoy it all. I also pledged the band for it too. So
which one?
Before I even pledged.
Which one? KKSI?
Yeah. So even before I had pledged, dude, I had already had my LB, who is now Omega, my other LB, Philip Stanford, who's a Kappa. My LSs, they end up pledging Zeta Phi Beta. One became a Delta, and then AK. Listen, so it all is what it is, and I enjoy it all. Man, from Chicago, when I entered, I had no idea what it meant. I was like, what's OBE? I know AKA because that seems to be legible, but what's this COB thing and this Diamond EO? And they were like, that's Delta and that's Phi Beta Sigma and Zeta Phi Beta and blah, blah, blah. So I was like, oh, okay. I didn't know anything about it. So I literally chose my organization based off what I was seeing and what I also read and in the history from the whole bit. So that's all good, man. HBCUs is certainly certain things that we want to keep up, we want to support. But moreover, on this episode, and what we want our followers, I want them to do, is to keep up with you, J.GUNN'S, and how they support you, how they can get this album, listen to it. Let our people know how they can keep up and support you.
Hey, follow me at J.GUNN'S. Gunn is with 2 N's. So at J.GUNN'S. You can get the album at the link in my bio. We took a direct-to-consumer approach because the streaming platforms, quite frankly, are ripping off your favorite artists, right? So you can get the album direct from me on my platform at J.GUNN'S. And we hope you love it, hope it inspires you, hope it lifts you up, gives you something that is far more valuable than what you pay for it. So at J.GUNN'S is the best place to find.
That's what's up. J.GUNN'S, you got to come back. You got to come back.
Wait, bro.
Co-host, let me know what's going on. What's the next album? Keep me in tune. Celicia, what's up, Soror? We've been shouting out the Zetas the whole time. So Soror, hit me up. Okay, please let me know what J.GUNN. I'm already following, but I'm already know what he's doing. So I might tap his shoulder before you hit me up. But if it's something that I missed, J.GUNN, hit me up, man. I would love to have you back on the podcast.
Indeed. Let's do it, bro. Next time you're in the shot, holler at me, man. Let's make it happen.
For sure. And each and every week, y'all, this is it. We wrap up our episode when shouting out by shouting out to HBCU. And this week, HBCU is Grambling State University out of Grambling, Louisiana. So shout out to my Tigers down there, holding it down as the best band in the land, as they say also. But I love my Grambling State Tigers because they do a little thing on a band field that no other band does. They bring out this big-ass bass drum. I don't know if you ever seen Grambling State University band,
legendary.
but during the halftime, they are notoriously legendary for bringing out this big bass drum, and whoever that male or female during that tenure is, they rock it out and they just hit 2 and 4 on every beat. So shout out to you, Grambling State University, for being our HBCU of the week, and keep holding it down in Grambling, Louisiana. And also, we're not done. So if you are an HBCU attendee or you're thinking about going to an HBCU this fall of 2024, make sure you hit us up. The Finesse Media University is giving away $1,000 scholarship to 3 individuals that's going to an HBCU this fall of 2024. How to enter? Email finessemediagroup@gmail.com and make sure you put HBCU 2024 in the subject title, and someone will respond to you with a link on how to submit your application. Applications in deadline July the 1st, so make sure you get those applications in. If you or you know someone that's going to an HBCU as a freshman in the fall of 2024, hit me up, finessemediagroup@gmail.com, and make sure you put HBCU 2024 in the subject title. We'll hit you back with the link so you can get it in. And what you also want to do is make sure you follow our guest Vanessa for this episode tonight, Mr. Joshua Gunn, J.GUNN, man.
Hey, follow me. And since you said that, if you hit me up on my DMs and you're an HBCU grad, I'll give a scholarship out this year too.
There you go. Keeping it going. Scholarship as its excellence. Whoa, tongue tie. But scholarship at its excellence is what we're doing. So shout out to you. And thank you so much for doing that, J.GUNN. These people going to hold you to it. I tell you, they're going to hit you.
Hey, please do. Seriously. I will give a scholarship out for a person that's entering an HBCU this coming fall. $1,000 from me to you.
That's what's up. No better way to end this episode, man, with our great guest, Finesse, tonight. J.GUNN, again, my brother, thank you so much for continuing to finesse the game, do what you're doing. All of his information is down below, so if you don't know how to listen, but you know how to read, go ahead and copy, paste. Go ahead and follow this brother. Good dude, man of Apple Phi Alpha, alumni of an HBCU, husband, entrepreneur, doing his thing. So all things gratitude towards you, my brother, and Godspeed. That's all I can say to you.
Hey, love, bro. Appreciate you, man.
For sure, man. You've been watching another episode of the Finesse Media Podcast, Season 6. I'm your host, Ken Finesse Media, and I'll see you next week with something brand new. Peace. For sure. Yeah.
This has been another edition of the Finesse Media Podcast. Join us again next week for the latest news from HBCUs. Special guest